with the 4 rounds that we're into now, 3 previous championship races, of course, and it's Ford and Nissan that have won those. Let's take a look at the grid, though. The Maserati on pole, the Lamborghini alongside of Peter Cox. Then it's that Nissan of Hughes and Campbell Walton, the Corvette of Hazelmans and Marson. Then we've got another Maserati up there, followed by another Corvette. Andrea Piccini, good to see him back in the series. He raced at Abu Dhabi. There is that Ford that leads the Drivers' Championship for Grosjean and Mooch. Then another Maserati next door. The Crum Dumbreck Nissan and the Darren Turner Thomas Enger Aston starts 10th. Another Aston, the Makaviki car, starts 11th. And then the other Nissan of Seiji Ara, followed by a Lamborghini. We've got Riccardo Zonta in the car, Matteo Bobbies in another Maserati starting 14th, Dominic Schwager in the Lamborghini with Christophe Boucher, the 2 Al Inkle teammates, on row 8 of the grid. Next up, it's Jonathan Hershey and Olivier Panis making his FIA GT1 debut. Oliver Gavin's in the Corvette further back, and Bas Leinders telling us he's got a couple of good sets of tyres for this race. Carl Bentlinger is at the back, as is Marcus Baltara in the Ford, and Christopher Nygaard in the young driver Aston Martin.
Yeah, and that's going to be very key, Ben. If the tyres are really a big issue here. Some teams will have to see exactly what tyres they will be putting on the car. A couple of guys that had a few problems yesterday, so they've got to, like Bas Leinders, he's got 2 new sets of tyres, but he's right at the back.
Yeah, so tyres will be... We've got fireworks going on, by the way, and that's what the smoke is in the background, so don't worry too much about that. But it's I can hear them going over the top of our commentary box. So we've got fireworks to set them off on their formation lap, and we'll probably get some fireworks in the race as well. If anything to go by the qualifying race certainly gave us some fireworks. Let's hope we get some here. The Maserati leads them round, the Lamborghini and the Nissan, then the Corvette. 4 different brands in those top 4 places. Yeah,
it's great to see that. And again, they mix it with each other. That's the fascinating thing with this GT1 World Championship, of the different manufacturers battling it out against each other. It's great to see.
And real top-class professional drivers as well. Lots of champions amongst the field, whether it's in GTs or single-seaters or all sorts of categories of racing. And with Olivier Panis joining the field this weekend, of course, man, you have been the teammate of Johnny, raced against on so many occasions. Better not count them all up, I think. But
no, thank you.
But good to see Olivier out in that Ford GT.
Absolutely.
So everybody else now just preparing for the start of this race. Long lap. It is some 8 kilometres long, 3.6 miles in length, this HTTT track. 1.8 kilometre long Mistral Straight, but it is interrupted by the chicane, one of several different chicanes that they can put into the layout. You can see all the little roads coming in from the side, Johnny, and when we went round in that Maserati GT4 car yesterday, we got a bit confused as to which chicane to go into.
There was no need to bring that up then. Yes, we did. There's a left coming up here, and I was thinking it was the first left, but it wasn't. It was the second, so we found a way.
Blame me, navigator. I was in the passenger seat. Blame me for that one. So up through the chicane, this is it then, as they do a left, right, and then back onto the Mistral Straight, and then there's still quite a decent run from there up to the right-hander at scene, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and they're still, they're still reaching about 150 miles an hour, 245, 250 kilometres. So yes, the speed is still very, very high. Not the fastest part of the circuit. It's actually into that chicane, and it's about 260 kilometres. It's about 165 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's right. So a bit of anxiety in the pits, a bit of nervousness as we get ready for the start. There was a very eventful start in one of the races we had earlier. Let's hope this one stays good and clean, but let's see if somebody can maybe get a jump. This is Mike Hazelmans, always a good feisty racer he is in that Corvette, and knows the Corvette so well. He's been racing it for a good few years now. Son of sports racer Toyne Hazelmans. His grandfather also raced at Le Mans, so racing is very much in the Hazelmans family.
Yeah, these guys will be obviously starting to bunch up. What you've got here, obviously, when you see the red lights above the start-finishing line, they will go to green, and then you can actually race and overtake. When you get a pace car, you can only overtake when you get to the start-finishing line itself.
Yeah, so that's the difference. As soon as those lights change, you can absolutely go for it. But don't forget that the Maserati of Bertolini and Bartels actually went a bit too early in Brno. They were done for a jump start there because they have to keep a set speed, and they have a radar gun checking the speed of the pole sitter to make sure that he doesn't break too soon, break away too soon. We're all set then. Here we go for the start of the championship race at Paul Ricard. Out of the final corner. The lights at the top of the screen. They're red at the moment. We wait for them to change. We go green, and we're under race conditions. We're on board the Corvette number 11, and it's a good start for the Lamborghini. Peter Cox is flying with Warren Hughes. Warren Hughes is trying to squeeze down the inside there as they go into the first turn. Oh, he locks the rear brakes but salts it out. You're on board with him. He's into second place. What a start by Warren Hughes. But did he go a bit too wide going? Oh, spinner in the middle. We've got an accident. And somebody,
Lamborghini there.
Yeah, I think it's one of the Alinkel cars. We'll check that in a moment. As the Maserati's been squeezed down to third, the pole-sitting car down to third. On board the Corvette's in fourth place, and Mike Hazeman all change up front, Johnny.
Yeah, I hope Warren doesn't. He did use a bit too much. We have had a race earlier on, and someone got penalised for doing that. So there is that chance that might happen, but I hope not. But he did use a bit too much.
Well, he used a bit of road over the white line. That's the key on that run down to the first corner. We saw in the GT3 race earlier, the Ferrari driver Diego Alessi did that, and he got penalised. But we'll wait to see. It wasn't he wasn't quite the same situation as we saw earlier. So up front is Peter Cox making a break, and here comes Andrea. No, it's Enrique Bernoldi. Enrique Bernoldi in the second Maserati. Good stuff, running wide. Yeah, it was one of the Hager Motorsport cars that's running off to the side of the track, but hopefully not gaining a position, so he won't pick up a penalty. What a break by Peter Cox here, Johnny.
Absolutely, and I think this is where now Peter, he's got the experience that he's got to look after those tyres, because the two cars behind are very easy on their tyres.
Yeah, that's very true. The Nissan was strong. Let's take a look at this. This was into the first corner. The Lamborghini already ahead of the Nissan. The Corvette tried to squeeze past the Maserati. Wasn't quite happening. And then it all goes wrong. Oh, it's the 25th. The other right of Lamborghini. Actually, it's the...
I think that was Grosjean. I think it was with the Grosjean and the GT50.
Yeah, and Riccardo Zonta was the one in the Lamborghini. So that's a great shame. So you've got one of the right of Lamborghinis leading and the other one involved in a spin going down in that first corner. So Riccardo Zonta, another ex-Grand Prix driver, not having a very good start to this race.
Yeah, I think that's Grosjean, yeah, the number 5. I think he was involved with that spin with the Lamborghini.
Right, well, it looks as though his car has survived, so let's just quickly check the order. It's Peter Cox in the Lamborghini, the Maserati of Bertolini, then Hughes in the Nissan, Bernoldi in the other Maserati looking threatening. Then it's Andrea Piccini in the yellow Corvette. Mike Hazeman's being pushed back further down the order. Alfred Hager is in 7th place in the Maserati. Romain Grosjean's running in 8th place. Michael Krum is in 9th. And then Frederick Makovicky is the first of the Aston Martins, and he's in 10th place.
Yeah, and this is what's interesting, because obviously these guys have had to choose their tyres, what they need to do. They're only going to have 2 sets, and it looks as if Peter has chosen a very good set to try and get an advantage when we get down to the pit stops.
Yeah, so he's maybe gone for a new set of tyres at the start of the race. There was a smoky lock-up from the Corvette of Piccini up ahead of us, I think. We're on board with Romain Grosjean briefly. Mike Hazeman in the middle of a scrap there he is at the moment.
Yeah, I think Grosjean may have a run now. Behind, yeah, no, he's having a look.
He's having a look. The Ford is in behind that Corvette. Is he going to have a go into the chicane? They're already about 3 abreast as they all head down there, running out of space surely, and Grosjean in the end ducks out of it.
Yeah, and I think he got past the Nissan there as well, didn't he? Yeah, Grosjean is stuck behind the Nissan, so yes, I think Hazeman passed that Nissan.
Yeah, but Michael Krum actually has sort of got himself back ahead of Grosjean, I think. Yeah, so he's sort of fighting his corner pretty hard here in the number 23 Nissan. Grosjean tucked in behind him, and then it looks as though Makovicky's behind him. And yeah, we've got a drive-through penalty for number 20 for the race leader. Oh, Peter Cox has been done, Johnny. Well, how do you read that one?
Yeah, well, I don't think we've seen a proper replay. I think we've only seen it from behind, so I don't think we saw it. Quite a surprise, but obviously they're very, very, very strict. To me, it looked as if actually the start was quite late.
Yeah, they seem to hold the reds for a long time and then go to green. But of course, this changes the complexion of the race entirely as Andrea Piccini trying to get himself involved there. And the other Maserati has indeed got past the Nissan of Warren Hughes on this last lap. So Bernoldi now has got himself into 3rd. And remember, we've just been told that the race leader, the Lamborghini leading this race, will have to make a drive through. And that means, of course, we are going to see 2 Maseratis leading this race. Look at the rest of them, all bunched up together. A massive queue now developing behind Warren Hughes in 4th place in the big GTR Nissan. Then it's the yellow Corvette of Andrea Piccini. Behind him, another Maserati. That's Alfred Hager under attack from Mike Hazeman's in the Corvette. Then it's right behind him is Grosjean's got back past that Nissan. So has Makavicki. So Michael Crook suddenly lost a couple of places again.
Yeah, it's just a bit what happened yesterday. Exactly the same situation. He started, what, to the front second row or something, and he just dropped back and back and back.
That's what happened to Warren Hughes. That was Bernaldi being quite...
and he just lost a lot of momentum, and I guess they passed him down the straight.
And look, they're catching the Lamborghini up front, even though we know it's going to have a drive-through penalty. Look at Andrea Bertolini really closing on the back of the Lamborghini Murcielago. Confirmation on your screen there at the bottom. Drive-through penalty for Peter Cox, and that's really disappointing, but you've got to go by the rules, and if he jumped the start, he jumped the start. And of course Maserati got done for that themselves at Brno, so perhaps Bertolini was being very careful at the start. He had got done at the previous event, and maybe that sort of contributed to it, do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely so. I think you're always, if you've had that, your trouble yourself, you always learn from it. Here is that start. Yeah, you can see that Lamborghini sort of a car and a bit ahead, not actually sort of side by side, so I think that's why. Yeah, he got that a big jump on everybody else.
Down into the first corner, and that was Warren Hughes who sort of slotted into second place, and Bertolini, and
just Warren.
Warren's, and there's the spin in the middle of the pack for Riccardo Sonta, with a bit of contact we think going to help, but we've just been told that Warren Hughes has picked up a drive-through penalty for overtaking beyond the track limits. It's exactly what you thought, Johnny.
Yeah, well, the thing, you've got those, that white line is actually that first white line, and then you've got the blue and the white. That is your limit. You cannot go over, and Warren was actually over on that start-finishing line, over that white line. And as we said, we had seen it before, so obviously they're very strict on it. He
wasn't watching that race earlier. Maybe he should have been watching our coverage. He would have seen that somebody get done for it. Now, riding on board, number 5 car, Romain Grosjean. This is a tremendous battle that he's in the middle of here. I think he's got Mike Hazeman still... He's
going down the inside of the contact. I thought there'd be contact, yes.
You could see that coming.
You could see that coming, exactly. So now he's going to go across. Oh, he hasn't lost out there, but...
Championship leader, remember, Romain Grosjean.
Yeah.
But that was a fairly... I mean, that was an aggressive and... He wasn't being patient there, was he?
No, he was not. And it wasn't a good move. To be honest, it wasn't a nice thing to do.
Never really seemed to be on, did it? We've seen 1 or 2 clean manoeuvres down there this weekend, but that really wasn't ever going to come off, and I reckon we could be seeing a few more drive-through penalties as we go through this race. So the 2 Maseratis are ganging up now on that Lamborghini up front, but up front it is still Peter Cox until he takes his drive-through. Got to come in within 3 laps of the announcement in the pits, of course. The timing screens will have told the team. I'm sure the team will have been told directly by the race director as well, and Cox will have to come in. Take another look. This was the Grosjean move on Hazeman's.
Just too optimistic. Again, I don't think we've seen any overtaking going on in that corner, and I think that was a bad move by Grosjean, because he's not ahead, he's halfway down the side. Bad move.
Yeah, surprising that from Grosjean.
Yeah.
He's been a bit of a star in GTs up to now. Perhaps just trying a little too hard in the frenetic activity of these opening laps to do something. And just remember the blue colours on the track here, that's the high grip surface. If you get onto the blue, then it slows the car down and hopefully keeps you out of the barrier. The red is even more abrasive.
And Peter, I think, has just dived into the pits. Yes, he's dived for his...
Yep. Drive-through drive-through for Peter Cox, and the Lamborghini makes it into the pits.
And Warren as well.
Yeah, Warren Hughes for that drive-through. That was for going beyond the white line, and that certainly affected his hopes. For him and Jamie Campbell-Walter, that's a big knock. Now there's a move down the inside, is it, for the number 9? Yeah, a car still ahead, actually. Groom was behind him. These two have been dicing hard for the last few laps, and they're still fighting there for what is now going to be, I think, 8th place with those couple of drive-throughs being taken.
Yes, they're having a bit of a ding-dong. They're probably holding each other up, unfortunately. It's just allowing the Maserati and the full GT in front of him to get away. There's another try on the inside there, not quite.
That's Oliver Gavin, the number 12 Corvette.
He's started quite a way down as well, I think.
Yeah, so he's had quite a lot of work to do. He's fighting his way through the field. And he's up behind Seiji Hara. He's actually moved up to 11th now, with some of the others being in trouble.
Yeah, and Oliver started down in, I think it was 19th position.
And, yeah, up into that chicane. There is Oliver Gavin. as he still keeps that pressure on Seiji Ara in the Nissan. So let's just quickly remind you what's happening. The two Maseratis are leading this race because Peter Cox has had to come into the pits for his drive-through penalty. That's put a Corvette up into third. That's the yellow Corvette of Andrea Piccini. Alfred Hager has brought his Maserati up into fourth place actually it will be, and Romain Grosjean, there he is, right behind Alfred Hager's Maserati now. So Grosjean's been in a feisty mood, we've seen it already, and now he's caught up. But we gather that he is under investigation for that contact that occurred in turn number 6.
Yeah, I think rightly so. I think it's something they've got to look at, but I think it's quite obvious what Romain did, and it was a big area.
Well, you, Johnny, of course, acting as a steward, aren't you, on some of the Grand Prix this year, so you know what it's all about?
Yeah, I've done a couple of those, I've done 2 of those, so yeah, it's a good thing. It's something that I think is another element that brings it better for Formula 1, but I think the same here for GT1 as well. You know, we've got guys that will be looking at this and monitoring what the drivers do on track, and you've got to penalise when they go against rules and bad driving. So Thomas Birch, that was Romain Grosjean's teammate, watching, a slightly pursed expression on his face. We're on board with Michael Krum in the Nissan. He's been in the mix for a while here. He's following the Aston Martin of Fred Makovicky with the local team, the Hexis Aston Martin. These two have been pretty much glued together, bumper to bumper, for the opening stages of this race. 49, just under 49 minutes remain. We've got a pit stop to go. We've got a driver change still to think about. And I should think that little plastic cooling fan, which is hopefully blowing a little bit of air onto Michael Krum, is worth its weight in gold, even if it is a rather meagre output. I think it's on turbo mode, I would imagine, with the temperatures we got here.
Yeah, he needs it, doesn't he? But here we go, here's Grosjean on the attack again in the Ford. Grosjean having a look up the inside, he's so good on the brakes, I think he's going to have him into the chicane. Makes it look easy. Oh, and in fact, Hager takes a shortcut. He's going to have to give the place up.
He should do. Yeah, yes, he's back there. Yeah, no, that was great. The nice thing with Grosjean, when he commits, he does actually really commit, and I think that's a good thing to say, because he doesn't hang about.
No, but he didn't quite fully commit
on
that other one, did he?
Well, he did. He did commit.
He did commit. Fair enough. On Mike Hasemans earlier on. Where is Mike Hasemans, by the way? He seems to drop back a little. I think they're in trouble with that Corvette, because he's dropped down to 17th place. So whether it's as a result of the contact, maybe there was some damage done to the car, but Mike Hasemans really dropped back as Michael Krum goes on the attack. Oh, look up there from Fred Makovicky in the middle of the corner. Can he take advantage of that? He can't.
No, he can't. No. It's one of those, that type of car. It's quite a long left-hander, but it tightens up right at the end where the Aston Martin locked up. But it's very hard then to sort of get the advantage on the exit. It wasn't quite the right place for our Nissan driver to get past.
No,
so Michael will keep on putting that pressure on. You know, he's going to be on that back of that Aston Martin and putting as much pressure as he can. He's close enough now down into turn 1. We'll see where the Aston goes and see if Michael gives it a try.
He's going to have a go.
He might try. We've seen it round the outside before. We're not going to see it this time.
Not this time. Yeah, we've watched a couple of races this weekend where it has been pulled off, but it is a brave manoeuvre. And I don't think Michael feels that it's quite time to throw caution to the wind to that extent. By the way, behind them, oh, he's having another look. Ollie Gavin is right behind them now. So Michael's got to keep a little bit of an eye on his mirrors here, because it's being filled with a Corvette.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're seeing the best of Oliver, because we haven't really seen him much this weekend. And obviously they've really got it together. They've done some work on that car overnight, and here he is coming through the pack.
Yeah, that's good to see. Oliver Gavin has had so much success with Corvettes over the years around the world in international motorsport.
Yeah, and you can see Michael starting to look in his mirror and see that Corvette of Ollie in his mirrors, and now he'll be sort of very aware of that, so he's got to be careful not to make a mistake, because Ollie will jump if there is that opportunity. Given
any chance at all. Right, it's great pictures on board. He works the steering wheel pretty hard through the chicane, up through the gears once again as they approach the right-hander and seen. Behind Ollie Gavin, it's still Seiji Ara in another Nissan running in 9th place. Jonathan Hershey in the number 10 Aston Martin is in 10th place. Bas Leinders has come up to 11th, having started towards the back in the Ford GT, so he's made some progress up into 11th place. Take another look. Oh, the Aston definitely, I think, struggling on these twistier sections here. That's where the Nissan looks so strong.
Yeah, and it's something you say about Bas Leinders. I mean, as you know, you spoke to him a little bit earlier on, and he had 2 sets of new tyres, and he's utilising those new tyres in the first part of this race for sure.
Yeah, that's moved him up quite well, and he could gain more in the second half with another new set, so that will work to his favour. Still looking at Michael Crimmen, the number 23 Nissan, sandwiched in the middle there, and the Sumo Power Nissan team keeping an eye on what's going on. Alan Orchard, the team manager there in the sunglasses, and there we've got a possible change here as they go side by side. Yeah, but will he get turned in ahead? That's the question.
He's going to make him get, he's going to squeeze him over.
Squeeze.
And well, there you go. The pressure, he put the pressure on him, and he thought, no, I'm not going to take you on.
So, great move by Michael Crum. Makovicky won't be giving up. The Corvette is not far behind as well of Oliver Gavin. There is the Gavin Corvette right in behind Frederick Makovicky in the number 9. Aston Martin just goes a touch wide. The next couple of corners that are crucial.
Yeah, the right-hander is quite critical. What we've been seeing is now there's just a little kink that goes onto that straight. We've just seen a couple of cars that haven't quite got the right exit. They have to back out, and then the guy behind generally can then get a good slipstream and pass into the coming chicane.
Yeah, look how Ollie's Corvette has been catching the Aston Martin over the last couple of laps. Well, it's one thing to catch, as we know. Where will he find a place to overtake? He's not close enough at the key place, which is into that chicane.
Yeah, I think that Aston's starting to struggle a little bit with his tyres. He seems to be quite missing the apexes, and again, here's Ollie trying out the inside, but he's missing the apexes, which normally generally means that the tyres are sort of getting to a bit too hot, that it moves around a lot, it squirms a lot when you're driving it, and then it just makes it a little bit more difficult, and at the end of the day you go slower.
Yeah, and he is struggling. I think you're absolutely right. Just a quick glimpse of this Ford in the background of Bas Leinders. A chance maybe for Ollie Gavin? No, not quite yet. And Fred Makovicky will be desperate to hold him off, but he's just got no grip.
Pressurised him again. Pressurised him. There you go.
No grip on that number 9 car, is there, really?
No, but he put him under a lot of pressure at the same time, so that was a good pressure from Ollie.
Yeah, and the Corvette working well. Top 3 across the line. Look how the yellow Corvette of Andrea Piccini is staying in the hunt. That's certainly a very promising sign in the Phoenix entry, and Andrea Piccini back out this weekend, having gone very, very well in Abu Dhabi. He and Mark Henrici won the well, in fact, he was driving with Hazelmans on that first event, but here he is with Mark Henrici, and he was pretty rapid. They had a very good weekend in Abu Dhabi, but now let's see what they can do here. Chasing down these 2 Maseratis. Andrea Bertolini leading. Second place for Enrique Bernaldi, another ex-Grand Prix driver. And then you've got Andrea Piccini, a younger guy who's come through single-seaters like a lot of these guys, but also a lot of GT racing in the last few years. Racing in a Maserati in 2007. He raced an Aston Martin back in 2006. And before that, lots of Formula 3000. So he knows how to handle a big, powerful motor car, and he's certainly hunting these Maseratis down.
Yeah, and we've got Grosjean as well.
Let's get down to the pits and hear from Xavier Marson.
Xavier, unfortunately, Mike was involved in a collision there, and now he seems to have dropped back quite a lot. Is he suffering with difficulties?
Yeah, he was off to a really bad start, and Grosjean tried to push it in a place where I think it couldn't be done. So yeah, it's really disappointing because we're on our way to a good race, and he dropped back a little bit, and fairly too much now to possibly be on the podium.
So it's not just the car, you just think it's his performance?
I don't know where he was off. He was at the wrong point, the wrong time at the start in the first 2 laps already, and dropped back to 7th. And I don't know, we have to see where we finish.
Thank you.
Yeah, so pretty disappointing for the crew there, but yeah, it's all over, really, any good chance. Now, what's been going on further back down the order? Olivier Panis. That was Olivier Panis doing that, I do believe, in the number 6 car. Getting past, but
he waved. He said sorry. He said sorry, so he's having waved. That's all right then.
That's all right then. It's not. Well, you know, a lot of experience, but here we are back on board with Michael Crum.
Experience at waving.
Yes, that's right.
Sorry.
So, Michael Crum, 6th place for him. He's chasing down the Alfred Hager Maserati now, and he's got a bit of a chance here because he's been handed the inside line. Hager didn't protect that too well.
Good move there. It's very difficult to do that because you're obviously on the dirtier line. Obviously that Nissan is working very hard. He's trying to get him back. Let's go, Michael. Stay ahead.
And closing back up on them is Oliver Gavin as well. Got past the Aston. Oliver Gavin is now closed up to the back of this Maserati.
He's done another big slide out of that left-hander, so I think he's starting to struggle as well, it seems. So I think this is where I think we will see sort of Ollie get a nice drag out down this straight towards that shot.
So the front engine V8 power Corvette up against the Maserati. Let's just first look back at Michael Krum's manoeuvre here. Fairly straightforward stuff.
Yeah, pretty much so. Kept it on track, didn't go outbrake himself. Little bit of a movement there, but nothing much. And in front, and gets the place.
So Nissan's had an up and down day so far, but Michael Krum is the leading Nissan, and he's now got that car into 5th position, chasing after Romain Grosjean. Grosjean still in position. There's been no indication that there's any penalty for Romain Grosjean, so he's happily there in 4th. But Alfred Hager in the black and white Maserati really coming under severe pressure now from Ollie Gavin, and this was where Gavin was so quick into this sort of infield section up at the end of the straight, and that's where he made a move early. I wonder if he can do the same here.
Yeah, well, I think he'll be trying to put the pressure on. He's a wily old fox, and he'll be putting that pressure on, and hopefully it will give him the opportunity. We'll just see Michael
Pacini's got the 2nd place.
Great.
And he's done it.
Fantastic.
Enrique Ben. Oh, no, still side by side, hitting each other. There's damage on the Maserati.
Oh, suspension's gone there.
Whoa, 2nd place has changed completely. Now is the Corvette damaged as well? That's the question. Crabbing its way down there, Enrique Benaldi. What a late lunch. You said to me, somebody will have a go into that last corner at some point, and it was Pacini going for 2nd.
And he certainly did. It was me to see the replay to see what happened exactly on the exit when they made contact. It's broken up. I would have guessed that left rear upright suspension. Here we go. So he's up the inside, no problem. Great move. Enrique tries to get up the inside. Yeah.
Difficult one, wasn't it?
Difficult one. I think the sort of the back end sort of steps out a little bit of the Corvette. You know, difficult one.
Yeah, was he
again? I have to say it even again.
Yeah, was he swinging across in front of him, or was he? And of course, Benaldi was certainly trying to get him back if possible. Well,
a great move.
Yeah. I mean, he just caught it. It's what you always want to do is try and catch someone unawares. And he did it entirely there, caught him completely unawares. But, well, a little bit of concern perhaps down there in the Vitaphone pit. But for Michael Bartels, things should be good because his car of Andrea Bertolini at the wheel at the moment, still in front. And the Corvette is charging on, and Andrea Pacini really pushing on. He'll be handing the car over to Marco Narici in a while. The pit window, by the way, will be opening up in just over 2 minutes. It's already 2 minutes away from those first pit stops being taken.
We've had Sergio Rai in the pits, and he's abandoned in the pits, so he's out of the race.
Now, interestingly, the number 8 Aston has been in, but that's not from a driver change. They've had a problem with that car. It did start at the back. I'm also telling you, I'm afraid that Darren Turner is way down. Also had a problem. I think it was his car, that came in right at the start of the race. I don't know what the problem was, but there was obviously something that affected his Aston Martin, so it's not proving to be a very good day at all, I'm afraid, for those 2 young driver Aston Martins. They're not going to go away with any points from this championship race. Meanwhile, we've got some more battles going on here. Number 10 Aston Martin, the blue and silver car, that's Jonathan Hershey. He's 9th. There in number 40 is Bas Linders, and he is in 10th place, having come from pretty much the back of the grid. And we know he's got a brand new set of tyres to use when he makes his pit stop in a little while. Will, of course, be handing the car over then to Maxime Martin.
Yeah, that will give it a good opportunity then for them to move up again. It looks as if he could get another place, not on this occasion, but they've moved up very, very well. This has been a good showing from Bas.
Yeah, it has. It's just because the Martin VDS team have not had as much success as the Martin team looking forward. There's no doubt that they've sort of been trying to play catch-up to the other Ford runner, but maybe in the lead of the shout. But don't forget, Grosjean at the moment is now being shown as 3rd, of course, because of that other Maserati having the problem. That means that Grosjean in the Martin Ford GT is now in 3rd place. So that's a big story because they lead the championship not too far behind their major threat, which are Andrea Bertolini and Michael Bartels.
No, exactly, and it's a big thing for them to get those points, especially today, as we said, because this is the day of the big points.
So everybody getting ready now. Interesting, they get the crash helmets on in plenty of time. But that Corvette, you know, has closed up over the last lap or so, just a couple of tenths quicker than the Maserati on that last lap, and really flying. And, you know, the Corvette was so strong in Abu Dhabi. They struggled for pace at the next two events at Silverstone and Brno. There's been a bit more of the balance of performance commission doing some work, and the Corvette has certainly proven to be very much stronger again here at Paul Ricard. It's putting that Maserati under increasing pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. He seems to have really sort of upped his game. The pit window is open, and I think now that is a chance that we'll see with
Let's get some... Oh no! Off goes the Corvette! There's been contact with the Maserati, and that's a major drama. And the Maserati's into the pits for the stop, but the Corvette continues. Well, that's a surprise, Johnny, that the Corvette has continued, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way. Oh, and it just got, well, I suppose the pit guys weren't ready. He wasn't planning to come in. I think he was trying to overtake the Maserati. Presumably lost it big time, and the same, probably the same thing as the Maserati does. It's pit stop.
Michael Bartels gets in the car. Andrea Bertolini, there was an incident there. Whether he actually made any contact with this car, I don't know, but clearly Piccini tried to do on the lead car what he'd already done on Enrique Bernaldi's car. And I know Haley was about to talk to Enrique, but then it all took off up at that last corner. But Haley is with Enrique now, I think. That car just heading off. Mind the guys in front. Yeah, he gets out cleanly. And so the former race leader, that #1 car is back on its way. Now we get the chance to hear to Enrique Bernaldi.
Enrique, unfortunately the race is over for you.
The race was being very good. I was faster than Bertolini, so I think I could have done a move soon. And Piccini tried a maneuver. I let space for him, and on the exit the corner he hit me. That's why I've been a Formula 1 driver, and he's what he is not.
Oh wow, there's a comment for you, Johnny. That's why I've been a Formula 1 driver, and he's nothing. Now then, from one Formula 1 driver to another, give us your reaction on that one.
That's a good quote. That one, I like that a lot. I don't know. We've seen it twice. We've tried to see exactly what happened. It's a very difficult one. It's very difficult to see. It'd be nice to see if there was an inboard one of the Corvette to see if he did actually veer right.
Yeah, I'm not sure we've got that shot, unfortunately. So it's going to be a tricky one to ascertain. The Corvette's still running. Here it is. It's leading this race now. Andrea Piccini, and is he staying out? Yes, he is for a bit longer. He's got clear track. What kind of lap times can he do? Particularly this lap, presumably, will be slower because it started with a bit of an incident on that corner.
And it shows, yeah, he did a 2:08.6, lost about a second, I think, on that lap. But he's still got a clear track. Have to see how many laps he does before the pit closes.
A lot of it will come down to whether he's got a good set of tyres to switch onto as well.
Of course, yeah. Well, I think this is what the whole race is all about. It's who's used what when, and especially now, who's got what left.
So Andrea Piccini continues on his way. The 31-year-old who his career apparently has just been written off by Enrique Bernaldi, who didn't seem too impressed, but he's had plenty of success himself. That's the end of this incident. Now, when he spun, that was when he went for the second time, we think, at having a go at getting past the other Maserati. Again, hard to pick up how it began, whether he just lost it on his own or what. But it was the same corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was going into the same corner. I think the left just before the final right-hander, but he spun going around. Maybe he was just trying to get as close as he could to get sort of that slingshot down the inside, but it didn't quite work.
No. Now, what else is happening? Well, I can tell you that Romain Grosjean is catching the race leader. Flying along is Romain Grosjean in that Ford GT. Meanwhile, there's another driver change going on down there. The number 41 Ford GT is also into the pits. That's the Renault Coupe and Marcus Paltala car. But the Bas Linders one is still out there, I think, at the moment. No, I think he has maybe been into the pits now. So, up front, Andrea Piccini leads the race. Romain Grosjean, second place. Michael Krum in the Nissan is in third. There is the second place car you're watching right now. Oliver Gavin's come up to fourth place. I think Ollie will stay out there as long as possible because his co-driver is not as quick as Ollie, so they probably will push that as deep as they can. into the race before they make the driver change. And we know that Thomas Much is fast, but he's not as fast as Romain Grosjean, so I'm sure they'll push it to the limit as well.
Yeah, no, definitely so. And again, Michael Krum's actually pushing in some quick laps as well. He's about the same pace as Grosjean at the moment. So if he can just keep that pace up, he's a further 4 seconds, nearly 5 seconds behind Grosjean, but he's still got a chance.
So a 2 minutes 7.9 for the race leader, 2 minutes 7.6 for the Grosjean Ford. Into the pits, the number 8 Aston Martin, but this car's right down at the back after problems earlier on. And so sadly, Stefan Mucker now taking it over, but I don't really see that they're going to be able to get much out of it. Thomas Much waiting to take over the number 5 Ford as the Corvette up front continues to lap quickly. And we also want to try and keep an eye on what that one remaining Maserati's doing. We'll have a look. Michael Krum in, so he's switching over. And it's Peter Zambreck, of course, who takes over the car from Michael Krum. As the two guys go to work to change all 4 wheels, and it's done, and they're on their way once again. Looked pretty effective, that stop.
Yeah, yes, he did. It seemed to be very, very slick. And Peter Zambreck is one of his famous things. He's the flip of the Mercedes at Le Mans, like Mark Webber, and Mark Webber we saw in Valencia. So he was teammates with Mark. Mark flipped twice, I think it was, and Peter was once, and then they withdrew all the cars.
Yeah, I remember that. Commentating on that race, that was very, very scary. And yeah, Peter Zambreck lucky to get away with that, but I'm sure he has sympathy for what Mark Webber went through last week. Look at Romain Grosjean flashing his lights away there. He's miles behind the Aston Martin, but he's obviously wanting to make his presence felt, isn't he?
Yeah, well, again, this is what it's all about. You've got to warn those slower cars in front of you that you're coming. It's just for them to see it, just so they are aware, and I hope they are aware.
He's a bit like a kid with a new toy. He's a single-seater driver. He's never had headlights before, has he?
No, he's never had a button for that.
He's got a new button to play with, and he's going to play with it, and he is playing with it. So he's on his way. He's currently in second place, chasing that Corvette, and he was 3/10 quicker on the last lap, but so much will depend on their pit stops and on the tyres that they've got, and then the pace of their relative co-drivers, as in comes Piccini. So Mark Henrici will be taking over this car, and then we'll get a real picture. And he's staying out there, Grosjean, a bit longer. Get one more lap in before he stops, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. He knows his pace is quick. He knows he's quicker than the Corvette that's just pitted. We'll have to see how many more laps, maybe only one more lap, but he just needs to push. And again, like the flash in the blaze, trying to get that Aston Martin out of his way so he can have maybe one final wide go at getting as quick as he can before he pits.
So, well, look at the tyres. Looks like a pretty good set. Hard to tell. I don't think they're brand new set, but always hard. They've been cleaned up. Yeah, the used set of tyres, and you can never really tell on a used set whether it's a good set or not, whether it's done a half race distance or maybe just a lap of qualifying. That might be all they've done. The Alain Cool Lamborghini in, they've been a bit disappointing, but there is the 24 car that led in the early stages. Remember that? That seems a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
He had a drive-through penalty for jumping the start, and he comes in from 9th position. So Peter Cox, that's such a shame, but the rules are the rules, and it's Christopher Haas who takes over that car. Meanwhile, now, Maserati versus the Corvette, that's the gap between them then. So, Michael Bartels has got a useful advantage over the Corvette. It's a question now whether those tyres that they've put on that car are good, and whether Mark Henrici can really put in some laps. The 27-year-old German, runner-up in the ADAC GT Series in Germany in a Corvette last year. He knows the car well, but also in the pits at the same time as the number 5. Oh, sorry, that's the number 6. There's the number 5 guy. Yeah, I thought he was still on the lap. So that was Olivier Panis handing over to Natasha Gachnang in the sister car to this one.
Yeah, and again, this is Grosjean. To see if he pits. It's going to be an interesting one to see.
Oh, problems. Natasha had an accident this morning in the warm-up. Went off the road on the entry to the Mistal Straight. Got the car sorted out.
Oh, no, she may have dropped her mascara.
steady, Johnny, steady. And Romain Grosjean now has to come in if he's going. Well, he has to come in as long if he wants to beat the pit stop window. Otherwise, he can pick up a drive-through as well. No, he does come into the pits. There we go. Stay inside the white line. Yeah, he's a good boy there. And that the other car's still there. Well, that's not good news.
No, well, I think they're going to be okay just behind.
Yeah, Thomas is actually standing well behind Natasha's car, trying to see what's going on there.
They're going to move it.
Yeah, because they still want a clean run out, don't they?
They do.
So
it's out of the way, so it's done. So now, hopefully, they can sort out her problem.
Right, out gets Grosjean, helps Thomas Much. The guys on the wheels, just these two guys. Watch, got the air tank strapped to his back, and another guy has the job of putting the wheel on, taking the wheel off, and they're not light, so that's hot work in these conditions. So let's see where that brings the Ford back out. Here comes the number 1 Maserati that has been up front for most of the race, not all, but most. Away goes Thomas Much and heads down the pit lane as the Maserati comes across the line. Now, where's the Corvette? Where is that Corvette? There it is, the yellow car just appearing at full speed. Thomas Much joins, and the Corvette is in front. So the Ford rejoins effectively in 3rd place once everybody's made their stop, which I think they pretty much have now, because the window has closed. If they haven't made a stop by now, they're in big trouble. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, he's closed the gap on that Corvette. Now it's really down to putting their heads down and hopefully getting that GT40 as fast as it can around this lovely Paul Ricard circuit. Yeah, riding on board with Thomas Much on his out lap. Got to get up to speed so quickly when you're first in the car. Yeah, well, you've got to be sort of, you know, on it. The tyres are cold, so you've just got to be a little bit careful. That's why he's working a bit hard in the car. But it will take probably half a lap before you sort of really get in. Adrenaline always sort of pushes you that little bit further in a race situation. Looking at number 9, Aston Martin. Now, that's being shown up in second because they made a later stop, I think. Just coming out of the pits, he's only just made his stop. So, a bit like Grosjean, they went for the last possible moment before making their pit stop. Yeah, and I think it was a good choice. You may as well use the speed of the car and then to get in when you can as late as you possibly can, because you gain more from it. Well, Natasha's problem looks to be somewhat more serious, doesn't it? Yeah, a lot more. We've got the rear bodywork off. Maybe a clutch or gearbox issue, because she just didn't seem to be able to pull away out of the pit lane, whereas Olivier had been running okay. When everything's going, it's quite different to actually getting the thing moving from standstill, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So it could be quite a number of things. So on its way, the number 9 Frederick Makovicky car, which is now being taken over by Thomas Ackery, who was out earlier on in the GT3 race here today. So some of the drivers have been pretty busy this weekend and doing plenty of work. There's the number 24 Lamborghini that led early on and picked up a drive-through penalty, and that's way down the field, I'm afraid, now with 12th position. So let's just confirm the order now that all those pit stops have been done, and it is the Maseratis up front. And as we're just looking at the standings at the bottom of the screen, you can see the Makovicky Aston is in 7th position, and the rest of them, Zonta, he had a problem earlier on, if you remember, and that's really put him down the order. Up front, though, it is the Michael Bartel's Maserati that leads this race from Mark Henrici's Corvette, and Grosjean and Thomas Much in their Ford, which is in 3rd place. The number 23 Nissan of Peter Dumbreck, by the way, still in 4th place. That was a nice power slide up the last corner. 5th place is Alexander Margaritis in a Maserati, and then Maxime Martin in the other Ford GT that he shares with Bas Leinders. That's up to 6th now, so they've done really well. This little battle here is going on for 12th place. That is Christophe Pouchou. He's a hard, experienced and feisty racer, and it doesn't matter whether he's fighting for 12th place, he's still going to give it his all. That's the corner at the end they come then, and this is Lamborghini versus Lamborghini. The Alinkel team didn't qualify as well as the Reiter team, the Blancpain team, but they seem to have a reasonable race pace here, and keeping the pressure on at the moment. The other Alinkel car, I'm quite sure, oh yeah, it's a bit further down, it's 16th place for the Nicky Pastorelli, Dominic Schwager car. Now, what's going on here? This is the number 11 car, Xavier Marson, and that is a change of position. That is for 8th place, getting past Livia Piccioni in the Aston Martin. And so the number 11, you remember what happened that? That was Mike Haysmans. He was running up front, had the incident with Grosjean, but the car seems to be working okay. Yeah, it seems to be okay. I say maybe just running off. It put a bit of rubber on the tyres, and it just took a bit of time to get off. It could be one of those things. The puff of smoke, was that from the Aston? I don't think it was a big deal, but I think it may have been. I think I had seen some a little bit earlier, but I'm not quite sure. Puff is from... No, it depends on the puff, doesn't it? It does, yes. Some puffs are not so bad, and others can be pretty end of race kind of bad. So Livia Piccioni still there, holding on to 9th place. Ricardo Zonta's in 10th position. But there is Thomas Merchant. Now you've got a battle on our hands, because that is for 3rd place, and it is Thomas Merchant, the Ford, with behind him now Peter Dunbrae.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up, been looking at his last few lap times, and he's been doing the best laps in that car, so they've obviously put some good tyres on that, and he's putting that to good use at the moment, and now putting that full GT under an immense amount of pressure, and there's a big difference in lap time. The GT40 is about 2 minutes 8, and Peter is 2 minutes 6. It's 2 seconds different.
Yeah, look at that, the graphic at the bottom showing you how much he's gained on his last couple of laps compared to the Ford. He gained nearly 2 seconds on one single lap. It's a massive margin. Whether Thomas Merchant made a mistake or got caught in traffic, I suppose that's possible, is it? No?
No, well, I know Peter's been consistent doing these 206s, so I think he just seems to have a car at the moment. Tyres seem to be working very well for him. You see, under braking, that's where he is able to gain. That just normally tells you that the tyres are in good nick.
Getting the power down as well. Let's listen for a little while to that wonderful V8 engine. Oh, the Ford's got a bit wide. Oh, he's got a chance here, Johnny. John definitely got a chance. That Ford.
Ahead.
Yeah, he has.
I think he is.
Surely. Yeah, he's done it.
Good move. I say he's been going really quick for those last couple of laps, and to do that there, that just proves that he's very confident with the car.
He's got a 6-second gap now to make up to try and chase down 2nd place Mark Canarici in the Corvette. Is that possible? Is that feasible?
Well, it's less. It's about 3/4, just over half a second a lap quicker he has been. It's possible, sure, because of course you're going to get that pressure on. You always know on your lap board when you come past how quick the car behind is closing on you. So you see, nice clean move, gave him room there, the GT40, which was really nice. So great job. Now he's got the next job of trying to keep that pace and close up on the car ahead.
The Sumo Power guys watching that. Let's see if there are any. Now, watch with us on Thomas Merch. He seemed to be struggling for grip. Can you spot anything here, Johnny? Does it look as we... Let's just wait till we get down to the tight bit, but does it look as though he's struggling?
Well, from outside, it did look as if he was just a little bit looser. He wasn't able to brake as late, and that's normally a sign of where you're lacking in the tyre grip to do that. We can't see anything exactly at the moment.
Let's listen to the engine here.
Will it be this left king? Could be interesting.
Oh, he's quick through there.
And he's quick through it.
He didn't lift it, I don't think.
No, he didn't, no.
So it's an indicator.
So the balance is okay, but again, the balance can be good, and on certain corners you can sort of utilise it, but when you need that grip, which is now under braking, this is where you sort of start losing out, and the back is a little bit loose and stuff, but doesn't look too bad. But I think just the Nissan is that much better. Yeah,
Nissan working his tyres extremely well, and we know they've been focused on that, the Sumo Power guys. The first thing they said to us when we came this weekend is we're really trying to work on our tyre management, and it seems to be effective, because Peter Dunbrae is up there in 3rd with a car that is still going quickly.
Yeah, and you can see even his last lap was a 2:09, so again he just seems to be going a little bit slower each lap.
Natasha, meanwhile, her race is over. It's been great to see her back after that leg-breaking accident in Abu Dhabi, back in GT1 World Championship, that is. And, well, let's hope that she's going to be in good shape for the next round.
Absolutely.
So, further back, we've got a little battle developing here between Alexander Margaritis, former German touring car racer, and the number 33 Maserati, the white and black car, the silver burgundy machine, the Mark VDS Ford of Maxime Martin, teammate to Bas Linders. We know that they had a good set of tyres to switch on to, and that's allowed him to close up, but he has been quite close now for a couple of laps. So the question is, can he actually find a way past that Maserati MC12? And meanwhile, let's keep an eye on this too, because Xavier Marson has got himself involved in the battle with the Aston of Thomas Ackery. He's passed one Aston a moment ago, remember, that was Clivia Piccioni, and now he's got to try and pass the other Aston Martin, and this time it's the car of Thomas Ackery.
I know, another car that's got another great noise from the outside. So again, trying the outside route, just going to keep him tight on the left and hopefully get him to run a bit wide. No, he's done very well there. You see the Aston Martin, and he's still on the proper racing line.
You've got a V8 front-engine car in the Corvette versus a V12 front-engined car in the Aston. You've driven that Aston GT3 here at Paul Ricard, haven't you, Johnny?
Not a Paul Ricard, no.
Right.
I drove it back in the UK. It's a very nice car. It's very balanced and stuff, but again, this particular circuit, because of the history of here, it doesn't wear tyres out. It just makes them go off, and certain cars are going to be much worse than others, are always more suited to a circuit. The Maserati works here very well, the Corvette does, and I think you may get a little slipstream now into the chicane here with the Aston Martin. The Aston Martins haven't been very good here, they've been quite poor.
Yeah, well, let's see if he's close enough. He's got a good slipstream. Perfect. Now, that's a demonstration passing manoeuvre where you use the slipstream and then just get it on the brakes as well. A bit of a combination of the both.
Yeah, and you can see these fighting the steering wheel. You can actually hear the wheel spin of that Aston Martin as well. So he's struggling with tyres as he accelerates, but that will also mean when he's braking, the back end will be very loose as well. So he has to back off a bit too early, which allowed that Corvette to get past.
So that's put him into 7th place now in the Corvette. So moving up the order, but our best placed Corvette is still in 2nd place, if you remember. That car of Mark Henrici was Andrea Piccini, who was really mixing it up in the early stages of the race. But up front, the gap is still 8 seconds. This is the manoeuvre. Once again, he timed it nicely here.
Yeah, very much so. And again, that slipstream just enabled him. I'm sure he could see that the Aston Martin was in trouble with his loose rear end, and very nicely done.
You don't want one of those. Loose rear end.
No, no, no. And if you just watch the steer, we might see it as he turns right, the Aston Martin. And you'll see there's a big oversteer as he puts his power on it. I go from left to
There's the race leader, number 1, and who can stop this Maserati MC12? But remember, they haven't actually had a championship race win yet this year. They've had a couple of qualifying race wins, but they haven't had a championship race win, which is surprising. But it looks as though they're well on target for it here with 13.5 minutes remaining. Fastest car on track is still one of Peter Breck, but he's got a 7-second gap between himself and the 2nd place car, that Corvette of Mark Henrici. That's really a bit of a tall order to close.
And he's only 2/10 faster, so he needs a bit more than 13 minutes.
Andrea Bertolini said that his wife is his lucky charm. Well, he's crossing his fingers, he's crossing everything as well, and it seems to be effective because they are leading that race in the Vitaphone car.
I think she might be travelling a bit more now.
Yeah, she might have to go to a few more events. It wasn't hard to persuade her to come to the south of France. It might be a bit harder to persuade her to go to Nürburgring, you know, with the autumn sets in. Actually, no, it's not autumn, it's still summer. It's still summer when we go to the Nürburgring. It'll be all right.
The beer's nice.
Yeah, it was lovely.
He's Italian,
So here we are, still with that battle between the Maserati and the Corvette. No, the Ford, rather. Getting himself mixed up on the American cars. The Ford or Maxime Martin just dropped back a little bit, and they're catching the other Ford. That's interesting. Thomas Mutch in the Martek car, that's being caught very rapidly by these two. So we're going to see some changes here, I think.
It does look that way. They've caught him very, very quickly, and he seems to be sort of slowing up quite considerably at the moment. So maybe he's got an issue there.
Might be. We haven't seen any news of any penalties for that car. There was an investigation that went on to an incident earlier on, but nothing's been done about that.
He's had a spin.
He's had a spin.
That's what it is. It's just come up on our monitor.
Okay, car 5 spun and rejoined at turn 10 apparently, and now look at this, it's put him under serious threat from Alex Margaritis right behind him, and then the Ford of Maxime Martin also joining in the fun and games.
It's not the sort of pressure you want this late on in the race, because your car is moving around. Well, he's twitchy. And again, that spin hasn't helped, because he's probably gone off and collected a bit of rubber. He's got to try and get that rubber off his tyres. And of course now he's got that Maserati sort of really pushing itself to get on the inside, and it looks as if he's done it. Yeah, very good. Very unfortunate. Excellent move, very unfortunate for them, because they've done a sterling job in this race, but he's under pressure again from Maxime Martin.
Yeah, the other Ford. So you've got Ford versus Ford now, and this will be a bit of a flip for the Mark VDS team, because they have rather been in the shadow of the other Ford team. Be a bit of a chance for them to show what they can do here. He's got his lights on.
Yeah, well, this is always the part of the psychological game. He's there, he's flashing, you know, I'm here, I'm going to get you.
Yeah, but Thomas Mutch will want to uphold honour for his team. Very involved in that team, and actually the running the technical side of it as well is Thomas Mutch. So it'll hurt him a lot if that other car gets past, but it's ever so close.
But we are aware, aren't we, that he has got a good set of tyres on there. So again, he's going to have that advantage to use.
Yeah, that is true. But I guess by now, the best of the tyre is probably gone, is it, I suppose?
It's gone, sure, but I think the drop-off of these tyres is quite a lot, and I guess his drop-off shouldn't be as much as that number 5.
And he does seem to be able to just tuck it in a little tighter there into the right-hander.
Yeah, he seems to be able to do that, and again, I think that's just down to the slight difference in tyre performance. But he's still got to utilise it, and secondly, he's still got to pass him.
Yeah, and then we've got 10 minutes to go in this race. A bit bouncy there over the curb, wasn't he, old Maxime Martin? This was when Alexander Margaritis managed to find a way past. And
so that little twitch didn't help him, you see, because it made him sort of go a little bit wide, which had allowed that Maserati to get that slingshot, which he utilised very, very well here into the right-hander and cleanly get ahead without any real issues.
Yeah, no problem at all. And now look at it again, under pressure here into turn 1. He has got to butt it on the brakes, but here comes Maxime Martin. He's done it. Mudge definitely seems to be struggling on the brakes down there into turn 1. He just was more cautious that time. Didn't want to get into a situation where he got into a bit of a slide and effectively sort of left the door open. And Maxime Martin's moved his Ford up into 5th place now. Alexander Margaritis is in 4th position. Peter Zumbrek, just to remind you, is running 3rd. Mark Henrici's in 2nd. Michael Bartel's still leading this race with under 10 minutes to go.
And that's a great move for them, and a great, we see it again into turn 1, and very easily done. I think we saw and we know that the tyres are in very good shape, and he's utilised that. He hasn't sort of waited too long. He's got on with the job, and now maybe he's got a chance to get up to that Maserati and gain one more place with, well, 8.5 minutes to go.
Well, there's the 2nd place car of Mark Henrici. Now, it is being caught a little bit from behind by Peter Zumbrek. The gap, as you saw there, to the leader, though, is a full 7.5 seconds. So the Corvette's a little bit lonely. Mark Henrici at the wheel at the moment. Been racing GTs in Germany since 2006. Did a bit of World Touring Cars. Oh, sorry, he's got to stop and go. Now, that must go back to the Piccini incident.
It certainly does, yeah, for causing a collision.
Right, now that's the accident that they had with Enrique Bernoldi. We heard Bernoldi talk about it. And, well, they've picked up a stop and go. Now, that's changed it all again. So 2nd place is no longer going the way of a Corvette. It'll go to a Nissan if everything stays the same, because Peter Zumbrek next up on the road in the Sumo Power car.
It certainly looks that way. From what we saw, it looked a bit harsh, but I'm sure they've looked into it much more. But unfortunate, but this is the way it flows sometimes.
Yeah, it is. There's the number 22 Nissan further down the order with Jamie Campbell-Walter trying to get past Riccardo Zonta, and both of them are sort of sticking in behind Livio Piccioni. That's 9th, 10th and 11th places we're watching there. The blue, black and silver Aston Martin being driven by ex-single-seater racer Livio Piccioni, who's putting in a full season in this car. But right behind him, breathing down his neck, is ex-Grand Prix driver Riccardo Zonta. Gets good traction off the last corner, but also right behind them is Jamie Campbell-Walter. So a nice little echelon pattern as they come down the straight. Which way are they going? I don't know. And then Aston's decided just to go plumb in the middle of the road for a moment. Then he moves out wide.
We're going to see an outside move.
Oh,
yes!
Jamie Campbell-Walter.
He did it yesterday, and he's done it again today. Absolutely great move.
One of his favourite. Oh, but he's come back, look. I think the Lambo's come back in here.
Yeah. He might go around the outside again. I think he's confident on his side, is he?
No, he can't.
Great stuff. Jamie did that yesterday in race 1, and feels very confident doing it again. So that's very good. The car's looking quite good at the moment.
It is, yeah. It's definitely working well in the latter stage of the race. But they are. This is for the final point, actually, sort of final couple of points, because this is 9th, 10th, and 11th we're looking at here. So fairly important to try and add to their tally, and off they go. Now he's got a good run here, good chance presumably into the chicane. Oh, gets a big squeeze on him from Riccardo Zonta. Is that what you Formula 1 drivers do?
No, you're not allowed it.
No, it was a big old squeeze from Riccardo Zonta, wasn't it?
It was, and
yeah, and I think Jamie is reacting to
I think so.
Squeeze.
I think he is definitely reacting to that. Yes. No, it was quite a good squeeze. He didn't squeeze him off the track, so from that point, I don't think it was too bad. I don't know exactly what the rules are in GT1, if there are any. Of course, in Formula 1, we always know about this one move that we're allowed. quite sure if that's
I guess
the case here.
I guess that was one move. It's just he left it very late when Jamie was almost upon him, wasn't he? Really?
Yes.
So that was the key thing. But never mind, they're still there, still behind Clivia Piccioni.
But I have a feeling that might get him going.
Yeah.
I think we will see another attack to pass.
Drive-through has been completed by the Corvette. Now, where's it brought him back out? Actually, it's brought him back out ahead of Thomas Mutch. Yeah.
6th, 5th,
Or 5th, yes, I think 5th actually. So that's pretty good, isn't it?
it's not so bad. It's
not so
brilliant.
bad.
It's not so bad.
Not as good as 2nd, which is where he was.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because that was
Here
such
we
a
go.
good move. Now, Dumbreck's on the left, Piccioni in the, well, sort of on the right, going to go to the middle. You
Same
just know he is.
situation as the previous lap, more or less, or identical. Not this time.
No, not around the outside this time.
I think the Lamborghini was more aware.
Yeah, Zonta.
Who's driving that?
Zonta.
It's Zonta, is it? Yeah, there you go. Mr. Experience. Great little driver. Very unfortunate we never saw more of him in Formula 1. It's good to see him racing again in the GT1 World Championship.
Oh, he's forced him into a lockup. Can't take advantage of it though. Still couldn't find a way through. Tight and twisty down that bottom section. No way to get alongside. Now then, what about here? This is where you get the toe. Oh, and he's going for it in a very strange place. Now here's a chance for Dumbreck, surely.
Yeah, let's see what he can do here. Again, he's...
Got to get the slipstream now.
Yeah, but I don't think he's got he hasn't quite got it on this lap. I think he was just in the wrong place for him.
There's another expressive hand gesture.
He's got that finger on that button. Flash.
You're right.
This is a horn.
He's definitely got very fired up here.
Very.
Jamie getting so close to getting past the Lamborghini, but so far, no dice. He hasn't got away past Ricardo Zonta, who's fighting manfully, the 34-year-old Brazilian. Former FIA GT champion, of course, Ricardo Zonta himself. That was back in '98 in an AMG Mercedes. So, yeah, and then some Formula 1 after that for BAR, a couple of races for Jordan, a few races for Toyota as well. And then went back, well, sort of bits and pieces since then, really. But he is not going to let that Nissan through easily. So, oh, a bit of smoke, or was that just a bit of a lock-up? I'm not sure. Oh, my goodness.
I think he may have kissed it then.
I thought he was just going to ram into the back of him there.
He's frustrated.
He could almost be French, the amount of hand gestures that are going on.
Well, he's in the right place. He's learned very well at the restaurant last night.
That's what it is. Still, Clivia Piccioni's watching all this in his mirrors, thinking, what on earth is going on?
So again, it's amazing this. It's the third lap.
Squeeze him over, look.
Yes, it's the third lap. We've had exactly the same. Oh, we may have got it this time. The Lamborghini's going to squeeze through, and Jamie...
It's three abreast down to the first
Jamie's
corner
ahead.
Here. Just on the outside, can Jamie get round in the Nissan? He's done them both. He's taken 2 places in one go. He's into 9th. Great stuff from Jamie Campbell.
And there you go. And the crowd goes wild.
Indeed, the crowd. Well, sort of. Part of the crowd. Come on. Yeah,
oh, no, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, part of the opponents. They're not looking so happy. But Jamie Campbell Walter. Well, I wonder what the hand gesture might be now. After that one. Come on.
Great move that, I have to say. He's confident. He did it a couple of laps ago. He did it yesterday. Wonderful, confident move.
So Piccioni was the big loser there. He'd been sitting in front of both of them for lap after lap, and then suddenly he finds he's sort of barged out of the way. But legally, I mean, they didn't do anything wrong.
No. It was a good, clean, straight fight. For 4 laps? Wonderful, lovely.
Keeping us entertained. Look at the clock's ticking away. Suddenly it's only under 2 minutes to go all of a sudden. Race leader is still Michael Bartels in the Maserati with an 11-second advantage over Peter Dumbreck. And a really good run for the other Maserati, the Hager Maserati. Alex Margaritas at the wheel at the moment in 3rd. 4th place, the Ford of Maxime Martin. Then Henrici's Corvette is in 5th. Thomas Mutch is still in 6th. Xavier Marson's in 7th, then it's Thomas Ackery's Aston Martin, and then this lot with Peter Dumbreck, with Jamie Campbell Walter rather, right there, and the lead of this little pack. So he's sitting in 8th place, I think it is, but by the time it's come around, no, 9th place. Here we go, take another look at this, Johnny.
Oh, it's great side by side. I think the Aston Martin was right in the middle. You can see they're getting very close to the Lamborghini, and I think they have a little kiss there, but of course Jamie gets that sort of clearer run in some regard because they were fighting over each other and scrabbling around. So there you go. Come on, you. Come on, then.
What a fantastic picture.
Great to see.
And I think that one might be James Rumsey's son. I'm not sure, because James is the owner of Sumo Power, and I know he came with his family this weekend. And that was just a wonderful, wonderful image. But I tell you what, these guys, what a weekend they've had, Johnny, because pole position, great qualifying job by Andrea Bertolini. They won the qualifying race, and for the first time this year, and therefore the first time ever, they're going to win the championship race in an FIA GT1 World Championship race. They've won plenty of FIA races in the past, but it's now the GT1 World Championship, and Bertolini's still looking a little bit nervous.
Yeah, and I think it's like he's been saying all weekend, they've been wanting this win. This weekend is the one where you get the points. They haven't done it before, and my Christ, have they worked at it this time to get it done, and they've done a good job.
Oh, they have. No, fair dues to them. They've been on top all weekend, and they have been pushing on and really dealing with traffic. They got pushed back to second in the early stages of both races, in the qualifying race and the championship race, but they have worked through all the dramas, and it's going to be victory here for the Vitaphone Maserati of Michael Bartels and Andrea Bertolini. Success at last in the championship race this year, and 25 points goes the way of Bertolini there and Michael Bartels. They will be delighted. That will put them into the championship lead. Second place goes to Peter Dumbreck and Michael Krum in the Sumo Power Nissan, and that is another super effort from them. Michael Krum looking very, very happy. And third place goes to Alexander Margaritis and Alfred Hager. That's their best result by a long way this season. Fourth place goes to Maxime Martin and Bas Linders in the Ford. Fifth goes to the Corvette of Mark Henrici. Crossing the line next, it'll be Thomas Much, I think, it's not, it's Xavier Marson in the Corvette in sixth place. Oh, there's a spin right at the end for the number 10 car. Clivio Piccioni might have lost a place, but it won't make much difference, I think, because they're just outside the points there. And we're just waiting for the other finishers to come through. Thomas Much has finished in 7th place. Jamie Campbell-Water, after a fantastic effort at the end, finishes 8th. Thomas Ackery is in 9th place. Ricardo Zonta is in 10th place. And the rest of them coming across the line. Bert Longin finished in 11th. Nicky Pastorelli in 12th. Clivio Piccioni, after that spin, finished in 13th place. So it was Longin just making contact with the back of Clivio Piccioni's car. That was for 11th. So he won't have been too impressed, although at least it wasn't for a championship point, I guess.
True.
Bit of avoiding work going on behind there by the Nicky Pastorelli number 38 car. Did a good job of keeping out of the way. So all the way to the end of the race, we've had some fun and games, but it has been a superb weekend for the number 1 team, this Maserati MC12 of the Vitaphone team, and the team that's won many championships before it's become a world championship. They've taken 5 teams titles, 2 manufacturers cups, 3 drivers championships. They've won the Spa 24-hour race 3 times in the past. Amazing run of success. But now that it is a world championship, Johnny, this is in a way the big one. It's given them a new motivation, hasn't it?
I think definitely so. I think it's been a long time coming for them. They've been so successful, as you said, Ben, in the previous sort of FIA championship, but this is really the one. You know, that world championship always adds that little bit extra credibility to it. We've got some wonderful manufacturers out there as well, and it's been a good team. They've always worked very, very hard, and I think we're seeing all that paying off.
Yeah, you can. Michael's enjoying the slowdown lap. Peter Dumbreck also very happy. Great result for Mark VDS with that Ford GT. Just confirming the standings down there at the moment. But yeah, it's first podium for that. Well, they're not just off the podium, they're in 4th place, the Mark VDS team. But the best they've had, I think, today is a 6th place that was at Abu Dhabi. Just looking at the standings at the bottom of the screen, scrolling through that. And so for Bas Linders and Maxime Martin, they will be very, very pleased indeed. And also that podium for Alex Margaritis and Alfred Hager. They had a 5th place finish in Abu Dhabi, but apart from that, no, they had a 6th place in Silverstone, but they're on the podium here. That's their first podium. And Alfred Hager sort of put this team together to run in GT1 this year. He'd retired from racing himself, 52 years old he is now. And yeah, he come back to racing. There's Michael Bartels almost getting out of his car. He's come back to racing Alfred Hager, and I have to say, you know, it's been well worth it, hasn't it? Because they've come home with a podium.
Yeah, no, definitely so. I think it's a great job for them. Be great motivation for the rest of the season, and who knows, they might sort of become a threat to everybody else. You never know.
Maserati's been strong here, there's no doubt. We know the other Vitaphone car would have been up there if it hadn't been for the incident with Andrea Piccini. But that was all part of the racing, really. And okay, Piccini, they got penalised for it, but it was great to see him have a go. I mean, Andrea Piccini was not going to settle for sitting in third. He got second by fair means or whatever, and he really went for the lead. We think we didn't quite catch it, but he looked as though he really had a go at getting past the #1 car.
Yeah, I think he did, and I think it's great to see that. It's great to see these drivers trying as hard as they can. But I think it was all the way down the field. We saw some great racing, some great overtaking. Sometimes a bit optimistic, sometimes, but we saw that they got penalised for that and making a few little driver errors. But at the end of the day, I think we had a cracking race because we had a lot of action the whole way through. Yeah,
no, definitely great stuff. The Battle of the Brands has once again provided tremendous entertainment.
It's the only mistake they've done. Look.
Yeah, well, they haven't been on the podium this year, so I don't know how to get there.
Don't know where to get there.
They're lost. Get the sat-nav on. Michael Bartels clambers out and thanks the car for a job well done. There he is with Andrea Bertolini. They've wanted this. Some days have not worked out for them in the previous events, but they have now. So, in terms of championship races this year, there's now been 2 championship race wins for Ford, 1 for Nissan, and now there's 1 for Maserati. And they're celebrating with Alfred Hager and Alex Margaritis as well in another Maserati. It's been a good day for the Italian manufacturer, hasn't it?
It has very much so. But they have shown all weekend how strong they've been. You've always got to put it, get the results from it, and it's exactly what they've done.
Well, we went out in a Maserati yesterday, so we're sort of part of the Maserati success, really.
No, actually, I think we gave them direction.
It's what it was.
It's what it was.
It's what it was. And they won in GT4 as well. So yeah, they've had a pretty mega weekend this weekend. So the band is playing already. Drums are going off. And yes, we've actually our lap that we enjoyed. You can watch that on gt1world.com on the website. So that will be put on the website, and you'll see Johnny and me, or me being sort of thrown all over the car, basically, by Johnny driving me around in the Maserati here. So I'll get on the website later on this week and see how scared I look.
Yeah, I might watch me.
You can watch you as well. Not that you might not have done that a few times in the past.
I don't do that one.
So there's the #1 car then that was so successful today, over the whole weekend in fact. The qualifying race win. It's a maximum point score because they won the qualifying race. They picked up the 8 points there and they picked up the 25 points. But the Ford GT of Thomas Much and Romain Grosjean did manage to claw back some points. They dropped down the order a bit there when Thomas was in the car. Ended up finishing in 7th position. But still getting a few points. So let's go and hear from the race winners now.
Congratulations, Andrea. It's definitely an emotional race for you.
Yes, it was an amazing weekend because pole position, we won race 1 and race 2. But you see also the car, all the car is really close. The difference also is the timing of the tire change. Our crew was really unbelievable. But it's really amazing race, really close. It's a strong competitor. Was amazing. I think for all the people at home was a good show.
Thank you.
So he's very happy now, fully relaxed at the fact that they've managed to achieve the Sunday Championship race day win. And for Peter Dunbrack and Michael Krum, they have come home with a superb 2nd place finish as well, and that is their best result of the season. They had 2 podium finishes at Brno, but they've now got a 2nd place finish, so they must be very pleased with that, I should think. Only 1 better to go now is the victory.
Congratulations, Peter. That certainly was a challenge for you.
Yeah, it was a tough race yesterday, and we had a bit of a strategy in mind. I looked very silly in the first stint yesterday and just fell back and back, but the reason for that was because we were on old tyres and we saved 2 very good sets for today. And you saw the carnage that took place around us, and I was able to drive fast laps at the end. So, you know, the result, it just came our way, and Michael and myself just took it easy and drove within the car, and the result came. Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Strategy all the way from the beginning then. So that explains Peter dropping back down through the field yesterday, saving those tyres for the big race, which makes total sense. And finishing in 3rd, Alexander Margaritis and Alfred Hager. Well, great result for them. Their first podium. let's go and get some reaction with them from Haley.
Congratulations, Alfred, your first win of the season.
Yeah, it's a special moment now, because when you are over 50 in such a championship, to be under the top 3, it's great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So, quick word for them as they have to be rushed off to the podium for the presentations to begin. But that's a nice line. So there are the results then after 28 laps. The winner, the Vitaphone Maserati MC12 of Bartels and Bertolini. The Nissan in second place of Dumbreck and Krum in third place. Another Maserati of Alfred Hager and Alex Margaritis. Then the Ford of Linders and Martin. The Corvette next up of Piccini and Henrici. And then Hazelman's and Martin's Corvette. Another Ford of Grosjean and Mudge. Then the Nissan of Hughes and Campbell Walter. Makovic and Ackery's Aston Martin. Zonta and Daniel finished in 10th place. The Maserati of Bobby and Longin finished in 11th. And then the Lamborghini of Schwager and Pastorelli finished in 12th position. Outside the top 12, we had another Aston Martin, the Hexis AMR car, just pushed out a bit at the end there, Clivia Piccioni. And then the rest of them, Swiss Racing Team Nissan's not really performing this weekend. So although the Sumo Power cars did, the Swiss Racing teams have got some work to do. And Aston Martin having a tough time. Darren Turner and Thomas Enger had problems. So did their teammates Christopher Nygaard and Stefan Mucker. So those two cars really outside the points throughout. So that's the classification from this championship race here at Paul Ricard.